Si comes tienes que lavar tu plato, Firulais. Anda, enjuágalo bien. No me gruñas. A ver, con la esponja eso. Y enjuaga bien que luego deja todo jabonoso. Eso así, muy bien, aunque de malas.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
But I could fight against whoever I want to fight against. I could fight against Michaela Mayer at 160. That's a great fight. I can do a rematch with Danielle Perkins. I can listen. It's so many things that I could do besides fighting Chidecha. I don't like that she put out this narrative that I'm scared of her. Scared of what? Scared of what?
You talk about Kayla Mayer. I thought that was your homegirl.
Yes,
you guys would actually
lot,
fight.
but if she thinks she can beat me, we can rumble. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with her thinking that you know she can beat me in a fight. It's nothing wrong with that, but just know that you know, thinking certain stuff and doing certain stuff come with consequences. And like I said, when it's time for me to go back down to 160, if she really want to fight, we can make it happen.
Michaela Mayer caught wind of Claressa Shields' sit-down interview with Brian Custer and said, "I'm not opposed to 160. That's the highest I can go, though. Here for it once Claressa decides to start making her way down." Bear in mind that she hasn't actually started yet. Her next fight, her rematch with Frenchon Cruz, is billed as a heavyweight contest. Claressa Shields, responding to Michaela, said 165 catch weight.
165? Didn't she say 160?
But I could fight against whoever I want to fight against. I could fight against Michaela Mayer at 160.
So she can then jump on Twitter and say 165.
For a fighter that spent a good number of years fighting at 130, are we supposed to be impressed with Claressa chasing around these little women instead of just boxing Jadeja?
Michaela responded by saying, 160 is the catch weight, LOL. I walk around at 152 right now. Won't even be able to make a 165-pound limit.
Of course not. Michaela Mayer is a fighter who spent a good number of years fighting at 130.
This fight won't happen.
Michaela Mayer just announced that she's moving back down to 147 because her priority is the undisputed title fight with Lauren Price that might actually pay out more than a Shields fight. It's a reason the fight won't happen. Claressa doesn't command the size audience or the purses. To make a fighter campaigning as low as Michaela move all the way up to 160 or 165.
Why the fuck are we supposed to be impressed by that anyway? Claressa, who started out at 168, has called out fighters like Katie Taylor, who fight at 135. Now she's calling out Michaela, who used to fight at 130.
Supposed to be her friend.
I don't actually think Claressa Shields has any friends. I mean, maybe that's what they think she is to them, but not in her mind.
You calling out girls that are that much smaller than you are is not a testament to your greatness or your pound-for-pound skill, because pound-for-pound is all about skill overcoming size, and the only ones in that situation that would have size to overcome would be the girls you're calling out, not you. You're bigger than they are, a lot bigger than they are, so why would we be impressed by you calling them out?
Oh, well, she did mention a Danielle Perkins rematch. Danielle is bigger than she is.
Let me try not to fall out of my chair with excitement over a Danielle Perkins rematch, a 42-year-old with a grand total of 6 professional bouts.
I think she's 43 now.
Who only ever fought in a 10-rounder once, and that was in a fight that she lost. Am I supposed to be impressed? Because I'm not.
For all the criticisms I levy against Claressa, I actually rate her. I rate her at number 2, behind Katie Taylor. If and when Katie retires, and that's not far away, Claressa will advance to the number 1 spot. But this idea that she's the greatest woman of all times for doing stuff like this, that's something else. That's something separate. What reads like a gimmick.
You're the greatest woman of all times for calling out girls that are noticeably smaller than you are while dominating divisions where there's nobody to fight, which is why you're calling out girls that are smaller than you are.
That and nobody's interested in the fight, the rematch that you're about to have with Frenchon that nobody's asking for, and you propose yet another rematch nobody's asking for with Danielle.
Just fucking fight Jadeja for the price that MVP sets, which I think is going to be more than what you're about to make, because I don't think you're gonna make $2 million.
Who the fuck is gonna kick it out? Win Records? And who are they? What fighters? What other fighters do they promote?
Because we know your career-long promoter, Dimitri Salita, don't kick out that kind of cash. He doesn't have $2 million to give you, so we're going to assume the $2 mill's supposed to come from Win Records. But who are Win Records? I never heard of these people until Claressa signed to them.
What other athletes, top athletes, or successful music acts are they affiliated with that I'm supposed to believe they're gonna kick out $2 million to Claressa per fight for a fight that isn't even selling? It's a grift. It's a gimmick. An inflated contract minimum intended to force any other promotional outfit that might want to use you to have to kick that out, except they don't want to use you that bad.
Because if your people have got that kind of money to pay you, then you should be the one making the offers, not expecting them.
That shit isn't gonna work.
Nope.
Neither is this ploy to bring Michaela Mayer, who's fighting as a welterweight now, all the way up to 165, which is really super middleweight. Frankly, I don't think Claressa can afford her. Now, you can lavish praise on Claressa for all the vacant titles that she's won in all these empty weight classes, call her the GOAT, but bringing Michaela Mayer up to that division is gonna take money.
Dinero.
The only reason I think Franchon is willing to fight her again is because Franchon didn't have much to do and she doesn't have a promoter, so it was the only offer on the table. But somebody like Michaela, who's got a lot more options because she's at a deeper weight with more fighters to fight.
The fuck's she gonna go up to 165 to fight you for?
I don't even think Claressa Shields has a belt at that weight anymore. Same Claressa Shields, who not but a few months ago criticized Layla Ali for fighting Christy Martin on the premise that Christy was smaller. Well, what the fuck are you doing calling out Michaela?
Who's supposed to go for this?
Check the comment section of Claressa Shields' video. There are some people that are supporting it in spirit, not in ticket sales.
You go, girl. You are the GOAT.
This shit is cringe. It's not actually Michaela's priority to move up there and fight Claressa. I would argue that Claressa needs that fight more than Michaela because Claressa's the one running out of options. That's what happens when you campaign in empty weight classes. In men's welterweight news, Devin Haney reacted to Keyshawn Davis's celebration this past weekend when his amateur rival Andy Cruz was bested by another man, by Raymond Muratalla. Devin said, "I would be mad if one of my rivals lost, because I'd be thinking like, damn, that could have been me beating them."
Isn't that what I said?
This phenomena we've seen in the last 10 years of boxing seems a uniquely American trait, like how Deontay Wilder celebrated Andy Ruiz beating his rival, Anthony Joshua.
Gervonta Davis celebrated Ryan Garcia beating his rival, Devin Haney, and more recently, Keyshawn Davis,
who wasn't interested in running it back with Andy Cruz in the paid ranks, celebrated Raymond Muratalla beating his rival.
This phenomena seems uniquely American. I don't recall seeing any Brits do this, any of the Japanese guys or the Aussies, the Mexicans. This seems uniquely American and very much cringe.
From a competitor's perspective and even a prize fighter's perspective, when you have a rival, that essentially means there's somebody out there that if you fight them, there's a lot of money in it for you.
So, you want to be the one that fights them, you want to be the one that beats them, and you want to be the one that gets paid for it. I remember, before Anthony Joshua fought Alexander Usyk for the first time, Fury said he was scared that Usyk was going to take away his meal ticket. I understood that response a lot more than this one.
That is, I respected it more.
Because Keyshawn Davis is quite literally claiming Raymond Muratalla's victory over Andy as his own when you were the one too scared to fight him again. It's not me making shit up either or paraphrasing. He was asked about it multiple times when Andy entered the paid ranks. And Keyshawn said he didn't want to do it. So you can celebrate when somebody else does it? So what is that, a sigh of relief?
What a bitch.
That's why I'm not one of these guys that can do a whole lot of interviews with these fighters because I can't hide my disdain for their lack of character. And I don't put any of them on a pedestal because they're just people after all. Even if they fight for a living, they're just people, and most people are full of shit.
Are we supposed to get behind a guy like that? Are we supposed to root for him? I used to root for Keyshawn Davis. I used to like him. I used to have high hopes for him. Then he turned out to be a loose cannon with no discipline, no character.
Of his own admission, he said he was drinking in camp ahead of what was supposed to be the Edwin De Los Santos fight. If you can't get it right while you're young and entering your prime, you're not going to get it right later. You're gonna crash out.
The American boxing scene. I'm really not all that pressed or impressed by today's American boxer, what reads like a lot of little boys and spoiled brats getting paid way too much
to do a half-assed job.
So I gotta agree with Devin on this. What Keyshawn was doing was nothing to brag about, but neither is pursuing a man almost 50 years old and Manny Pacquiao, reacting to the recent story that Pacquiao versus Rolly Romero is now in danger of not happening, Devin seems to have thrown his own name in the hat, saying, Sean Gibbons, call Bill Haney.
What?
So that you can make a fight with a man almost 50 years old coming off a draw with Mario Barrios of all people? It's how disingenuous it all is when these fighters line up single file to fight a guy Manny's age, knowing that he's not in his prime, he's not what he was. That's why you want to fight him.
But she'll pretend like he is, hoping that we believe it. So what the fuck, are we stupid?
Oh, you must think we are. You think I want to see Devin Haney, one of the most boring fighters in boxing, box a man almost 50 years old? For what?
What?
And on pay-per-view, no less.
$60.
Why don't you suck my dick 60 times? How about that?
Huh?
Would seem that Devin's being frozen out. He wanted a Lewis Crocker fight. His father did. They're not gonna get it. They were advocating for a Conor Benn fight, but Conor doesn't seem interested, and neither am I. Devin is an accomplished young fighter, and you can't say that he doesn't have heart because he actually does.
I have to concede that Devin has run towards challenges that other fighters have run from. So I give him that grace and I give him his flowers. But the kid is boring, and I can't get over that. I watch boxing to be entertained. For more than anything, it's entertainment, and he does not entertain me.
That inconvenient truth often gets lost in translation.
It does.
Among those who want boxing to be for the wine and cheese crowd when it's really for the mob and the vulgars.
Pieces of shit like me.
You think I'm sat on my couch drinking apple juice with my pinky in the sky?
Fuck is your problem?
You better wake up and smell the Febreze, baby. Boxing is for the common man, the common folk. You don't go outside right now, combing through Times Square, showing people a Devin Haney fight and make a boxing fan out of them. You don't.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't want to see Haney versus Ben, but I don't want to see Haney versus Pacquiao either. I struggle to think of a fight I want to see Devin Haney in, because if Devin's in a fight, it's not going to be a fight.
Lastly, what do you think about the whole Zuffa boxing? I mean, I saw you tell somebody on Twitter they were criticizing Zuffa boxing, and you said, unless you're putting money in my guys' pockets, then, stop talking about it. How do you feel? It's been a lot of criticism, a lot of people talking. How did you feel? Zuffa boxing had their first event this past Friday. How did you feel about it?
Look, I'm going to tell you because I was there. My two fighters that fought on that event, they're happy. They're happy because the day they get there, they treat them special. They feed them. They make sure they're cutting weight. They take care of them after the weigh-ins. They make sure that everything's right. They pay them very well. So when you have these young fighters who are fighting on club shows, that I have my own club shows here in Southern California where they have to sell tickets to be able to get paid, because that's the only way to make money. The more tickets they sell, the more money they make because they make a small percentage. I can't tell my fighters, no, we got to continue doing this when they're getting the opportunity where they're going to be making 3 times more than anywhere else. That kid Emiliano that fought, his last fight was an 8-rounder. He got $4,000. $4,000 for an 8-rounder.
Wow.
This fight, he got 3 times more. You know what I mean? 3 and 4 because they also give them sponsorship money and stuff like that. So he made 4 times more. You know what I mean? So it's a big difference. I can't tell my kids, no, you guys have to hold back because I don't like what they're doing. No, actually, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because the type of fighters that they're trying to get and build up their company, it could turn into something big.
There you have it. From someone who's been on both sides of the ropes, in the ring as a fighter and a champion, outside of them as a trainer and a manager, and in his purview, Zuffa is good, could be great for a lot of young fighters. His young fighters got paid more by Zuffa than they were getting before that, at a time where people want to criticize Zuffa because of who runs it.
Dana White underpays his fighters.
Buddy, if your entire concern is fighters being underpaid, whose fighters do you think get paid more? Zuffa's or pro boxers? Do you go on a tirade over Gary Jonas and what he's paying the guys on his platform the way you're doing now with Dana White? Since your concern is what fighters are being paid, you just heard it from Robert. His kids made more on Zuffa, a lot more, than they were making before that. Jai Opataya now stands to make more than he was making before that. So do you go on the attack?
Do you have a go at Tasman Fighters and Mick Francis? Because he didn't pay Jai Opataya what Zuffa is now paying Jai Opataya. Is your concern really the fighters' well-being and what they're being paid?
I don't think it is. I think you used fighter pay as a means to virtue signal so that you can appear benevolent.
You're such a good person.
So many of these performative activists that I see online harping about fighter pay who really just attached their egos to something they didn't understand and didn't know. And even after they find out that they're wrong.
Oh no, they won't admit it because by then they've attached their ego to it. It's about their ego, not fighter pay.
In this digital world, when the people want to make up their mind about you, they make up their mind about you, irrespective of what evidence is presented that stands in opposition of what they think. I know this as a content creator, having been one for several years.
I've experienced this, where people would rather believe a lie they've been believing than admit they're wrong.
Because people are not two-dimensional characters in a comic book. They are a little bit more complex and layered than that. And some of them can't get out of their own way, control their own ego. They're not computers, bound to their nature.
The laws of right and wrong. There are so many instances where people don't mind being wrong because of their ego and because of their feelings. So when you see so many people levying criticism towards the amendments to the Muhammad Ali Act, not even really knowing what they are, or levying criticism towards Zuffa, not even knowing how beneficial it could be.
You could take a head count, you could tell them. Most of the TV networks that used to show boxing in this country don't show it anymore. And without that network money, less boxing ends up on television. That Zuffa brought Paramount back into it is actually a good thing. And Robert just said it, but you don't want to take it from him.
Why, because you know more about it than he does?
No TV money for boxing means no boxing on TV. Do you understand that? And that means less opportunities for fighters. So if your whole concern is really fighter pay, you would look at this as being beneficial. You would actually look at it with an open mind as a good thing.
Nobody said it was perfect, but nothing is perfect. No one is perfect. So this doesn't have to be for it to be beneficial and necessary in the American boxing space. Because imagine if Paramount didn't come back to the sport. It would really just be down to DAZN.
Amazon Prime isn't making an investment in boxing if they're even still showing boxing. They're just letting the PBC use their platform to distribute their pay-per-views. That's not an investment. ESPN just walked away, so it really would just be down to DAZN if Paramount hadn't come back.
But what you're stuck on is who they came back with. I'm thinking, well, that's better than nothing.
Can't see the forest through the trees, man. Some people, you just can't talk to them.